the Flint River. It's like, are you kidding me? People fishing out of the Flint River. People were swimming in the Flint River. People was and water seeps. Every city has what is called aquifers. Aquifers are everywhere, DeWaun, and those are like little underground rivers. And what happens is the Flint River, any waterway, water seeps down into these aquifers. And what happens is the aquifers, our trees in our yard and all that stuff, sometimes them roots draw water from them aquifers. Now the utility poles that Consumers Energy them put up over the years and all that stuff, the transformers on them was been leaking poly, what is called oh man, what's the stuff called that leaks out of the transformer? Is a chemical that don't break down with water. It's not biodegradable. So it drips down into our water aquifers, and TCBs leak out of these transformers, and it draws up, and our tree roots and everything else be drawing this stuff up, and we be sometimes consuming it. If we plant anything in the backyard, our dogs be licking it, the kids be playing in this contaminated dirt. So the state and the city's attorneys have studies over the years that can show Flint been glowing in the dark in terms of contamination. So they was gonna argue, even though this water crisis occurred and it was man-made, it's a harmless error because we already was contaminated as hell and ain't done shit about it. And now I want this lawsuit to remedy all that shit instead of just dealing with what it. So it narrowed what this lawsuit could really deal with. Man, I'll be glad when I'm able to write a white paper on this when it's over with and really can show, you know, for people that's going to critically look at this and examine why this was really a limited suit. And some lawyers just pulled out, and some lawyers just faded in the back. And then it would beg the question: why all these outside lawyers dealing with? Why none of all these army of lawyers in Genesee County? Why ain't they suing on a water crisis lawsuit? Why did they lead the charge?
And that begs the extra question though. Actually, that opens up. You know, if you saying like we was a cesspool, we had before the water crisis.
Why ain't y'all done nothing about it?
Right. Yo, why we been living in it,
and why we been just living in it, and nobody is because
nobody challenge
GM. It's the water drop theory.
Why nobody challenge GM?
Because they feeding them.
Okay, but they left.
And right,
there's a very small population of people here
that's still in GM.
You're right. Yeah. Not like it was back in the day. Like our grandfather, our father, they would eat.
Now imagine you a lawyer and you going. Let me tell you this. There's a lot of cases that can settle for that just happens every day in life. When you walk into every day in life, that can settle for $25,000-$30,000. But if you the lawyer,
you talking about cases,
just any kind of lawyer. But if you the lawyer that got to do that case, and it's gonna cost you $15,000-$20,000 to get a $25,000 settlement. So once your lawyer your client make $3,000 profit, you make $2,000 because you're gonna get all your money back out of the settlement. Yeah. Then what? And it takes you 18 months to do it. No lawyer is gonna do a case like that and spend 18 months of their time to only make a $2,000 profit. They ain't gonna do it. What they gonna do is be like, no, I'm gonna chase this one ambulance here where DeWaun got his finger cut off. I know if I wait 18 months for this one, it's gonna be worth my time. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do my little cherry picks that pay my bills every day. I'm gonna do the drunk drive-in. I'm gonna do these little criminal. So the lawyers in Flint wouldn't take it because they can't float no case this for that long. See, you gotta understand.
But why didn't they connect with a lot
of lawyers that
to be able to bring this forward?
That part.
That can, that has, I guess, the capacity to manage
that part. Case. The only one that came close to doing that was Trishelle, and in my opinion, that happened by accident because of the people that went and protest and the Southfield firm, right? That end up taking the case, Pitt McGee. There's a couple firms down there towards Southfield, Grand Rapids, and Lansing that could fight it. They could have fought this case by themselves for a couple years, but it's only about 25 firms like Napoli who tied to financial institutions and investment banks that'll say what you need, about 25 million to 70 million dollars, 25 million for X amount of years. We're gonna just float you this money.
Right.
We get paid when the case settles. Yeah, on the back end. And
I think that would have been ideal. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand us fighting this fight well before it just kind of hit the fan.
it should have been a
We
far
switched
longer.
over to the water.
Yeah.
You know,
Because Flint been polluted.
yeah, I heard that. You know,
It's been polluted.
since a child. Like we've always been told, my mom and them just say like, don't go play in the Flint River because they used to be down there riding bikes and stuff. And all that.
But they would say stuff. You're right, but
the soil is contaminated.
Soil is contaminated.
Like over there in in Buick City.
Yes.
You're talking about, and then over there in the University Park neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
So they would say that, but but nobody never did the checks and balances to be able to say like, hey, listen,
Because they were scared of GM. GM pockets was so deep that the people that was raising hell, some of them got bought off. Some of them, because you got to think about it. Who should have been leading the charge on this stuff? If we're such a unionized town, it should have been the unions. The union should have been fighting for the pollution that they workers got exposed to. Them asbestos cases started selling for $50 and stuff like that. Now you got these nationwide mesothelioma cases that all these big corporations done contributed to, and 20 million been paid out already, or 20 billion, and it's still about 30 billion nationwide being paid out on those asbestos cases. That's all over the place. But I tell people, look at what's that thing called, the Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune back in play again because the Congress passed the law to overcome the statute of limitations and let you bring all that shit back up. Otherwise, it couldn't have been brought back up.
So in 30, 40 years ago?
Yeah. So in Flint, the water crisis theoretically can be brought back up, but you need a congressional will. You need the congressmen and the senators, anybody that's running for Congress or Senate. You need to get them to make a commitment that they're gonna bring up legislation for stuff like universal health care for the city of Flint, paid for by the government because of the government's role in polluting.
I think that's what when we was talking, having that conversation here, with the brother, he was saying like that would be one of his first order of business, right? First day projects, to bring that forward, and I think now you're right, that would maybe be our best bet to kind of get some
legislation
back in on the legislation.
Yeah, the back end.
We should have like lifetime health care. We should be opening up those different opportunities. Hey, how you doing, Tim? Hey, what's going on? How you doing, Miss Bada?
Yes. Are we on?
Yeah, we on now. I was
priming it up.
Yeah. If you want to share it out,
let me share it to a few people. Let me share it to my whole hookup. I want to share it to all my friends, my options. Yeah, this is a wonderful thing. I think you wanted something, man, because
Hey, Miss Taylor, we went to that meeting too. Tia was there. What's up, Tia?
Sharing this to a few people. It's been. I'm coming to understand that Flint's been polluted for a long time, Brother DeWaun, and in that understanding, it's like crickets. It's like nobody. It's almost like a Chinese water drip. It's just dripping on your head. It's so slow. By the time the hole go in your head, it it happened like that over a period of time, and you just missed the drip. You know, it was so slow and methodical that, you know, before you knew it, it was over.
It was a big puddle.
It was over, and
yeah,
it was over before you knew it. It was over.
And that's kind of like even when we talking about this meeting today, man. It's like, you know, the problems are so vast. Right?
Okay.
And, you know, folks just like feel a certain type of way, but you know, these issues been going on for a long time.
A long time.
This stuff ain't happening just yesterday, man. So you know, we just be looking and trying to fight, trying to be on the defense all the time. So we cannot really be proactive about, you know, get on top of these things. Like you were just spreading some news to me about, you know, even about how polluted. You just reunited, like it was polluted for a long time. This just wasn't since the water crisis. But why haven't we challenged GM? Why haven't we challenged or hold our elected officials accountable during the times when, you know, GM was polluting Flint River and polluting the soil?
Absolutely.
Like why did we become beholden to them? Because we give them tax abatements, or because
we giving them tax abatements
in our pocket, they got folks paid off. It's that type of stuff. But then it feel like it's the same stuff again now.
I know.
Like even like the water crisis, even at this meeting today, I would think water crisis be one of the main things folks be looking at. And like, listen, let's go ahead and right these wrongs. Let's get this stuff squared away. Let's hold these folks accountable. You know, and to respect to, you know, having our local government in order, because the main top priority was respect that city council.
That was the main top priority.
Actually, it was the ARPA dollars.
Okay.
ARPA dollars was like the you know, the top thing.
How much is left in the ARPA fund, according to what y'all heard tonight?
Well,
it started off at what, 98, 97, 98 million?
94.6 million.
Okay.
That first came into the Flint Coast. And now, just last week or just this week, they were able to move the balance of the ARPA dollars, which was about 40 million, into the general fund. So that's $40 million.
So now let me ask you this. Was it moved into the general fund so that it can come off the books as unspent with the block grant before we lose it? What was the motivation to move it? Is that the motivation?
If you recall, we've had this, we got up until December 2024 to spend that money.
Okay.
So we had a whole
and that's an extension, because the Republicans at one point was like, if they ain't spent it, send it back.
Yeah.
And we was able to shake that off.
Yeah, and we had up until the end of next year to be able to spend those dollars. Now that may be a strategy, but I think, you know, you would have been able to spend that $40 million, just like when the residents were talking about using $16 million to renovate properties.
Okay.
You'd have been able to, you know, allocate those dollars within a suitable time. It wouldn't have took you all year to do that. Right?
Well, I thought the argument was, how do you pick winners and losers in terms of homeowners and even homes that might be, say I live in Flint, I'm renting a house. Yeah. You live out in Grand Blanc and you own it. So I'm finna get your house fixed up that I live in. And or was it just pure homeowners in Flint? And if it was pure homeowners in Flint, how do you pick who need what, who gonna qualify for what? And a lot of times, it's been my experience, they'll get that money for home renovation to a third party, like a Habitat or somebody like that, and let them administer it through their natural programs. But the problem with that is you'll have these organizations, man, that'll siphon administrative funds up off of it and put qualifications in place that the people who really need it might not have access to it.
Exactly. And I think that's what folks are trying to get away from, because, you know, all too often, man, you know, that's exactly what happens. Like they get admin fees and they are administrating these dollars, and you know, a lot of people may not be serviced. You know, a lot of times they be intended to be able to service the community, but to be honest, I'm not sure how those dollars even reach folks on the grassroots level. I'm just saying.
You know what? And that's the problem with these type of things. The road to hell, my mama used to say all the time, is paved with good intentions. And so I think it's good intentions when you have a third party administrator that's structured, where you don't feel like you're just throwing the money on the ground. But at the same time, like stimulus dollars, sometimes you just got to put it in the hands of the people. Now you can almost like a construction loan. You can give things out in draws. When you reach this stage, we'll give you a draw for the next stage. We'll give you a draw for the next stage. Because the question should be, how can we stimulate socioeconomic activity in the city of Flint in the process of fixing up these homes, where it's not the major contractors that's going to overcharge for what might need to be done at your house. So you might only be able to get a window done. Whereas the reality is in the city of Flint, for example, just for example, because we got to be solution based at some point or another. Because if they ask me, bro, how would you administer $16 million to people in Flint so homeowners' houses can get them blue tarps off the roof? I would say, okay, let's look at the business demographics. If the business demographics in Flint, if Flint is 68% Black,
right,
and so everything shouldn't be by race. But if we're deprived by race, then let's not stick our head in the sand and let's address that. Right. So who are all the city of Flint contractors that just licensed? They ain't got to be registered, I mean, just licensed. And how many of them are Black? For example, I can think of D&N Development, Derek Hatter's group, Black small contractor, licensed. He is MB, veteran. Now it's an army of handyman out there. Ray came out. He done got him a vocational training certificate while he was caught up. Don't nobody want to hire him, but he being hired by homeowners every day. He hanging drywall, he putting down floors and all that. He may or may not have a license or a certification, but the homeowner can fix up their own house with his help. So he's doing that type of thing. Right. Get all of these handymen and put them under Derek's group and let them subcontract out themselves to fix up these houses for a third of what it would cost otherwise. And so what happens is you start generating economic activity where these handymen that live in Flint are making money, and you're going to get more bang for your buck fixing up these houses. The homeowner should just apply. And even if it's a $5,000 grant, you probably will run out of homeowners before you run out of the grants on 16 million in the city of Flint. So it'll almost be equitable, because a person might have to put in a pound of flesh. Like they might put up 5%. You might put up $250 to get 5,000. And it might be limited to windows or your roof or something like that. But if you use the very people that's out there doing the work, but you never consider and make an easy path for them to come up under a couple contractors and subcontract themselves out, then the contractors would be almost like Habitat. They'll be getting a 2 or 3% administrative fee, and they would play quality control over the work of the handyman, but you would get more bang for your buck, and the homeowners would actually get out of that 5,000 some significant work done, because they'll be able to get at least half to 60% of it in materials and the rest in labor, because the labor would be cheap if you do it this particular way. This stuff ain't rocket science. It's happening every day, DeWaun. You know that you call somebody, Ray and them, and they come and they might fix something in your house. They do. You don't call Blessings Heating and Cooling. You call brother, and they come and get that stuff together, man.
No, I think that's a strong way to really kind of boost your small business when you can get them bonded, you can get them licensed. Like you talking about, I got a Rolodex of young brothers, man, that be fixing up houses, and they be doing stuff on my door, my basement. Yeah. And I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably paying a fraction of the cost if I went to somebody who was, licensed, getting paid by the hour, all that other stuff. And you do got some. I do, and I make sure I pay them good and feed them, right? All type of things. But I think really kind of helping their business out as well. We want to continue to keep.
And you do have legitimate licensed handyman.
You do
that do good work, like and I'm gonna throw his name out there. Hope you don't jump on me later. Andre White. Do it all. Man, this cat remodeled my bathroom for a fraction of the cost of what I would have paid a major firm, and all I would have been doing is paying their brand.
You talking about you said Dre?
Dre.
Yeah, Dre got me together on my tank. And you're right, it would have been if I would have went through, I guess, your traditional plumber or electrician, I would have been out about what, $500-$700. Like I said, and I paid a fraction, and and I was appreciated because it was good work. It was great.
It was excellent work. The brother don't cut no corners.
He don't cut no corners, and he's serious about it, right?
He get quality parts, and he don't cut no corners.
But that's the thing though, when we're trying to boost up, Pookie and Ray Race, because they out here doing quality work, right?
Yeah.
And they need to be licensed. To be able to help support them and giving them a fund, right? Giving them to go in and being able to boost that, right?
And look, part of the equation could be, all right, y'all, handyman, y'all come on down there and see Reg now.
Yeah,
Legal Research One.
Yeah,
we can form them their LLCs, their corporations, and get their tax ID number and all of that. Right. But then they can go under Derek because they don't have a license, and they can get bonded. You can go. We got foundation bonded. This brother Peter Gibbs used to work for SBA for 18 years over their bonding program. It was $750 million when he started. I went to Central State with him, and when he left, it was $190 billion. And that brother now started his own bonding company out of Maryland, Foundation Building. And the key to bonding is being able to have direct access to the underwriters. Right. This brother know the president of every major insurance company in the country because he been working with him in the SBA. Yeah. And his first year out, he did $5 billion. His second year out, this brother did $12 million, and he just did a merger with his company. It was a $40 million deal with the fourth largest bonding company in the country, Merchants out of Iowa. So he told me, "Hey, Reg, if you know anybody with their PNC license, let me know." Yeah. Now, if I went and got a PNC license and property and casualty and decided to change my profession, I got a plug that directly is hooked up with the underwriters. Yeah. So as a new PNC person, I can turn water into wine because I'm hooked up with an underwriter. It don't absolve you from what you have to show. But a lot of us been boxed out because the insurance agents don't show us love.
No, but they don't break the information.
They don't break the information
where it's clear.
Where it's clear.
And you're able to go ahead and follow through on those things to be able to get you some access.
It's access
to
underwriter. To an underwriter.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like folks probably don't even understand an underwriter. I know when I was first in the house, I had to get with these underwriters. And these was the first time I guess I was being introduced into being able to get, because they
the ones who really gonna approve it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And I guess building a relationship with them, right, was vital and important.
That's right.
And so, man, a lot of times, you might not necessarily know the steps to go, but we should make that information readily available so folks don't have to take the long road or cut corners, right?
Right.
And just kind of work underneath the grid, right? And that's kind of all we've been knowing. When we talk about us going into business, like even when you're talking about independent, contractors, or you having a small business and you're an entrepreneur, and then you working with a CPA and they understanding like how to do your taxes and things like that, and how you can win on your taxes. And I don't think we have those type of opportunities, or at least those structures that being able to kind of educate people. Because we got a lot of brothers in there that's doing work under the table and not filing taxes or anything, but when they talk about they want to get a loan, they ain't got no proof. They
don't have no proof that they even been in business.
That's what I mean. So it's like, so we got to kind of take this from the point of being underground, but then having, I guess, some type of, what I'm thinking about,
a bridge,
but then what's the center? We need it.
Like a business incubator.
Yeah, man. Be able to come in, sit down, educate, talk to you, see where you are in the process, walk you, maybe take you hand to hand, take you to the next steps. So those is critical. We don't have that.
Well, here's the thing about that. And if we speak the truth regardless of the circumstances, we have to address the fact that freedom ain't free. And by that I mean everything ain't about money, but there needs to be a connection on the micro level, not on the macro level, the foundation level, but on the macro level. There need to be a connection between nonprofits and for-profits. This is Kwanzaa. Under the week of Kwanzaa, that's called Ujamaa.
Yes,
cooperative economics.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a cooperation between the nonprofits and the for-profits on a micro level.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. So got together with a couple people, because we always planting sales and incubating and developing.
Mm-hmm.
And even from a scientific perspective, what we talking about, you got to kind of plant sales individually and autonomously, so that if one of them become infected, the other ones can still grow. So on a micro level, I'm part of a nonprofit, Renewal Undergrowth. Bless you, bless you.
Right.
And one of the things we want to do, and you can go to www.renewalundergrowth.com or .org, and you'll see one of the things we're developing is this connection between handymen coming up under contractors. We want army, a regiment, a battalion, a division, and we talk in the language of military, of Flint handyman teaming up with licensed contractors, so that they can come on out of the code. They can come up out of the untaxed underground economy. They can get help through this socioeconomic nonprofit teaming up a for-profit process to get their little handyman businesses properly formed as LLCs, S corps, and C corps, and they can be up under a contractor in the process, so that they can go. I know a brother, he's cold-blooded with roofs, but he's not licensed.
Right.
So what he can do is he can come up under, he can form him a little handyman company. He can come up under the contractor and literally sub his work out. He'll be a subcontractor for the contractor. He'll go do the majority of the work. He'll make the majority of the money off of it, but you'll have the insurance and the covering, if you will, of the contractor. He'll be covered.
Right.
Church always want to talk about covering. It'll be like a covering. and what will happen is quality insurance would take place by the contractor. They'll come QA to work. And if something happened, instead of wondering if this dude gonna come back when he get a chance to fix it up, it's insured. The project is insured. It's bonded. And so these are the things we have to start doing on a micro level, so that this less inexpensive labor can be available in a professional way to the people of the city of Flint that decide to buy a house but don't have a clue on how to fix it up. That can be a scary thing.
But you know what? I think I'm glad we touching on that, because in the spirit of Ujima, right? We're talking collective work responsibility, but we're talking Ujama too. We're talking cooperative economics. We're talking socioeconomics. The thing is, it's like we got a lot of talent, and a lot of times, right now, it's been a barrier, and folks getting to that talent.
Yes.
We need to be able to have those type of conversations. And I love what we did at Juneteenth when we had, the different, representatives from different, sectors out kind of speaking.
Yes.
And, we had a number of small business folks who wanted to get engaged, wanted to, I guess, get their business up from out the basement into brick and mortar, if you will, right? Or on around, right? But just have those processes in place when you talk about LLC, when you're talking about having your DUNS and Brad Street number, when you're talking about having an EIN. Those things sometimes be foreign to, just some people, right? And it's just really just a, access to information. Like brother said, information is not free. A lot of times, this is why a lot of folks are struggling. They're not having the understanding, the education, or being knowledgeable of these type of, I guess, structures, right? For us, man, when we're talking collective working responsibility, we want to be able to galvanize all the energy, right? How do we galvanize all these small businesses, these entrepreneurs that's here in the community, looking to go ahead and feed their family and get them into a position where they're official?
We got to, we have to have a bridge.
So there's a need for a bridge.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about that, just trying to reach numbers, that foundational.
No, it can't be about that.
Nonprofit complex of just going through these processes so they can show numbers of the folks that they serve. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about having a real space where people can learn, train, be educated from those folks who've done it, did it, right, and willing to give that information back. And then help you grow.
One of the things that I struggle with is that, you know, you have to, let me cut this thing off. You have to deal with the fact that you got to feed your family, and you have to balance the knowledge you have in your head and sharing it. You know, there's a parable to say, don't feed your pearls to swine. And you don't want to find yourself doing a whole bunch of activity that ain't going nowhere. Yeah. One of the things I can't stand, DeWaun, is endless meetings that produces no fruit. Yeah. We constantly having endless meetings that produces no fruit. So part of the thing we want to do is we want to make sure what we're doing is fruitful. Yeah. And so instead of just talking about it, one of the things Renewal Under Growth has done is we found a couple contractors. And we're encouraging handymen to meet with the contractors. Now we're going to launch in a in right at the beginning of the second quarter, sometime in the second quarter of 2024. We got a fundraiser that we're going to do, and this particular fundraiser, it'll generate us about $100,000. It might cost us $20,000 to generate the 100, but we're gonna keep recycling the 20 quarterly in order to do that. And more news at 11 on what the specifics are. We pregnant with an idea. And so, but once we do that, it's gonna be based off of self-funding. So we're not gonna beg for a grant, but we will be able to take those monies and we will be able to offset or subsidize the handyman coming out of the code. Well, look, you don't have no business form. You just throwing up drywall and fixing stuff because that's what you know how to do. All right, you're gonna go through this little training program, and guess what? All it's gonna cost you is $5 or $10, because we definitely believe that nothing venture, nothing gain. You gonna put a pound of flesh in, but that might be, but it need to be proportionate. If you tell a handyman he gonna pay $5 to $10 and go through 4 or 5 session training, it might be 3 hours a session, but at the end of it, he's gonna have his LLC, his S Corp or his C Corp. So when he leave, he gonna leave with something tangible, whether he continue to mess with you or not. He got something tangible that would otherwise cost him about $475 if Legal Research One did it to form him that LLC. But we would have raised the money through our own fundraiser, cycled it through our micro nonprofit that we hooked up with the for-profits, and we're gonna provide that service for you. Come on now. We already identified Gold's Credit Solution, the sister Nika, and we're gonna that $600 you might have to pay for about 6 months worth of credit repair. You might only have to pay $20, and the nonprofit gonna subsidize the rest, and you just sign up. But you put in a little bit. But you're gonna have 6 months of credit repair service that's gonna be paid for in order to you get yourself together. So we looking to build that bridge, and we looking to do it on the micro level, because once we do it on the micro level, guess what? Others can do it on the micro level. At that point, we might use a pinch, because I'm scared to death AI, but we might use a pinch of AI and go ahead and automate this thing so you can go online and do it. And then we're able to, as a micro organization and as micro businesses, we're able to 10x the process. Now, I'm not talking about pie in the sky. I'm talking about practical steps that will allow us to bring some of these small, talented businesses out of the woodwork that will be providing services to the people of the city of Flint at a very, very affordable rate. Come on. And if we keep pushing the program, then we ourselves might offer some of these $2,500 home improvement demonstrations, or then tie in with the groups that do it annually, like Tanae Turner and Elga picked up where Chemical Bank left off, because it's 12 federal home banks who all their members are credit unions and other banks and groups like Metro. And every year around the third month of the year, they offer $10,000 home improvement grants all over the country. And by the time it trickled down to our people, a handful of organizations that know about it, whether it's Metro, they them already told they want to tell And it's over when the masses hear about it. Only 2, 3, 4 of them are able to apply.
That's what happens a lot, though.
That happens a lot.
I actually just became aware of that just recently through Metro. Metro, they told me like, yeah, you want to be connected in March. Just like you said, the third month.
Yeah.
They said it go live. The application go live in April.
Yeah.
So they kind of give you a heads up to be prepared.
Be prepared. And I'm not suggesting that these are not good groups.
Well, no, what I'm saying
they are.
Sometimes it's just not reaching. It's not reaching the masses.
Right.
Like you said, it's only a handful of people that really take advantage of that.
Well, you know, we suffer from trickle down programs. Most of these programs are funded at a level we can't reach, and then we're constantly waiting for stuff to trickle down. What I'm suggesting is, what we waiting for? We got to take the bull by the horns ourselves and create our own 501c3 micro organizations that's teaming up with our own micro for-profits. They got to team up, and we got to start solving our own problems one block at a time. It's not pie in the sky. It's very obtainable. And so rather than talk about it, as I've come onto your show today, is because we already have it in motion. We're going to be about it. And you have to incubate ideals sometimes so that once you start exposing them, they can stand being exposed.
But that's the thing. I think right now, why it's germinating, right? The thing is, you know, putting the limbs and, you know, the pieces all to it. When it's rolled out, right, it's already ready to go.
It's ready to go.
And then, you know, folks can take advantage of it. I think those are the things, but, you know, you want to be at the table, just like how you saying, like Metro might tell, you know, a few people that they want to get, you know, access to this program. Just like us, man, we have to be at the table.
We have to be at the table.
And we have to be willing, like, this is something that we want, right? And we want to be able to practice it. So we don't want to be here in the last minute and trying to figure it out. No, we want to be there during the process, understanding what we need to do. So when it's time, when it goes live, then we ready to go. And I've been there in the preliminary stages. You know, we discussed and talked about it. That's why I said those incubations, you know, maybe those structures and buildings that we need to have, you know, in this community. So folks is having this dialogue, they're having this conversation. We collectively working together. We got all the talent here in the space in the room. The trainers is ready and available, right? So when it's come time, when the opportunity presents itself, we not just like, you know, don't got all our stuff together, all our documentation ready, right? To really, you know, kind of follow through. That has been like, I think that has been like a barrier for a lot of
it has coming up. And we have to ask realistically. For example, there was big complaints, and I know there's been some of our best activists in the community have went to the land bank to lobby that they open up for Black contractors. There's been contractors themselves. But if I'm a contractor and I only have the capacity to demo 1 to 5 houses at a time, then I would have to ask for that. I can't ask for a contract for 50 houses with the belief that what I'm going to do now as the minority contractor is I'm going to call the primary now and I'm going to sub out to the primary. The primary going to be like, no, you off your rocker. I'm already ready to go with 50. Why would I let you take money off the top and sub to me? If anything, I'll sub to you based on your capacity. So instead of making that war and that battle that our small micro businesses cannot win against these folks established to know how to knock 50, we got to require the land bank to say, hey, look, we have small Black contractors in the city of Flint or in Genesee County. You got to make 1 to 5 houses demo contracts available for them so that they can get their feet wet, because your qualifications say they have to have demoed X amount of houses for a few years to even qualify for a big one. So let's give them a path. And guess what? The bigger contractors are not going to feel slighted or left out because you done gave, 50 houses in 1 to 5 batches. They don't want them. They want the 50 house batch. But them 1 to 5 batches after 2 years, them small contractors are now able to develop track records. They're able to, they're bonding and all of that. They have a track record. Now they can shoot their shot for 25. and then they can grow from there. We have to learn how to ask based on our capacity.
And you made a point.
Based on our
You're
capacity.
talking about just a simple example, like when those folks were talking about land bank got ARPA dollars, right? For demolition. Right. But then we didn't have any black contractors, so that was a big issue, right? They asked for all these qualifications. You know, a lot of times, you know, like we just talk about black organizations is trying to, you know, we building up, we getting there, right? But they wanted you to be bonded at, you know, X amount of dollars, right?
$2 million.
Which you know, a lot of black organizations didn't have it.
You're not gonna get, right? If you don't have no experience, you're not gonna get $2 million bond.
That's my problem. You don't got the experience. Now I have no way to get experience.
But
how can I get on these big contracts?
But if you give me 1 to 5 houses, I can go get $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 bond from foundation with this contract for 1 to 5. And once I do the 1 to 5, guess what I want next? I want 5 to 10. And guess what I want after that? I want 10 to 25. So,
but it's getting to those organizations and saying, hey, this is where we are. This is what will help, you know, I guess strengthen our black contractors. In this community. This is what we need y'all to do.
Yes.
So they get some skin again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the X.
And not make them a slave to the big contractor. Right. Where the big contractor say, hey, come on, let me use your minority status. And I'll throw you a few houses. I don't need you to throw me nothing. I want access to be to do whatever my capacity is. If my capacity is 1, then I want to be able to apply to do 1 as a contractor in this community. If my capacity is to do 5, then I want the opportunity to apply directly. I understand you got to knock down X amount of houses in a 2-year period of time. All right, but just make it equitable based on what your demographics are. If you know you got 5 minority contractors and in the city of Flint or Genesee County that may only be able to do 1 to 5, then give them that opportunity.
No, I agree.
And then take it from there. But you know, we can't keep waiting though, DeWaun. See what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about waiting for the benevolence of our politicians to get it together or the benevolence of the grant givers to give us. I'm saying we need to, on the micro level, start doing this stuff ourselves by teaming up with our nonprofits. For example, say I'm a new nonprofit organization. Ooh, this is good. I'll give you about $1.35 worth of game. Okay. So say, right there. Say I just formed a nonprofit today. I got my 501c3 status, and them came in. Now I want to raise me some money. Now there's a army of corner stores and restaurants and retail locations that us poor folks in the city of Flint and surrounding area spend our money with every day. We master spenders. We master consumers. That's right. As soon as our money come in one hand and go out the other. That's right. So what if you go online through Church Supplies Inc. or whatever? They got these Tootsie Roll type cans that you can order. They like a Tootsie Roll can. They got the slit in it to put the coins in. You get you a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock paper and your Tootsie Roll can. You staple it to there, and you have our fundraiser project, whatever your project is. And you go to these stores with a cover letter saying, hey, here's my information on this cover letter. We want to set this coin box in front of your store. We want to set it at the counter where people normally pay their change at right by the register and let them put their nickels and dimes in here. So if I got 100 of these deployed as a brand new organization, I didn't ask for no grant or nothing. I just went and found these corner stores in my neighborhood, the restaurants we go to, Burger World, Chicken World, Taco World, and I set these things up. And so what ended up happening is, if I just collect $10 off of 100 of them, that's like $1,000 a week that I'm raising off my coin box campaign. And as a per diem or a gratuity, not a salary, whoever go collect them for me, I can get them maybe 20% of whatever's raised as a gas per diem and gratuity for their time, because freedom ain't free. Their time is valuable, but I'm dumping the majority of the money into my little account. So I'm seeding myself as a nonprofit organization with a little bit of change, and I ain't big for one grant. We on the micro level got to start operating under self-funding. This is something that we're allowed to do. So the little operational money that's needed to pay rent for my nonprofit organization to be based somewhere, because the grant giver want me to not be operating out of my basement. So the $1,000 a week I'm generating, I can go get me a suite over at the Flushing Professional Suites over there on Flushing Road for about $600 a month. And that 1 week can cover that out of my Coinbox campaign. And I still got 3 more weeks that I just generated another $3,000 so I can pay the person to keep dumping every week. See, we have to start thinking where we are. Always start where you are.
That's right.
Don't always look at the end and be constantly stuck on go. We have to have a process to do like Booker T. Washington say, drop your buckets where you are. And then start moving from where you are and grow at the pace of business. Grow at the pace of organization. You have to grow at the pace of where you are. You don't have to beg nobody for that. We have a lot of creative thinkers. That's right. And that Coinbox campaign, it's room to have 2 or 3 of them coin boxes. So those of you with micro organizations, there you go. That's a fundraiser that you can use immediately, because there's groups doing that every day.
You know what? I was gonna ask you, you know how, say for instance, when you spend, you use your debit card at the corner store.
Okay.
And after it prompts you to use your card, put your PIN in, then at the end it says, hey, would you like to donate the change?
Yes.
To your local organization.
Yes.
To any organization.
Yes.
It could be something overseas.
Yes.
How are they putting that together? They having a contract with those folks who have the devices?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Now, let me give you an example. Walmart on Corona Road. Walmart out in Clio. Walmart in Grand Blanc. Right around this time of the season, you'll see March of Dimes, all of them. When you pay with your debit card, at the end it'll say, do you want to round up your change to this organization?
Right.
So if you artistic vision and you a nonprofit, you need to go up to Target on Miller Road. You need to go up to Walmart on Miller Road. Hey, here's my 501c3 paperwork. I need y'all to go ahead, that little thing y'all do with y'all.
Come on now.
At the end of y'all things, and where people can round up their money. I need that campaign for a month. I need that campaign for a whole month. All these folks from the city of Flint coming here giving y'all their money.
And y'all
and y'all ain't giving back nothing. So we need y'all. So you might want to take a group of kids to Haiti again.
Come on now.
Something like that.
Yes, sir.
Let the spending, the nickels and dimes of our people in Flint raise the money to do it, because they customers, we be in there all the time. We master spenders. So we got to step to see, we can eliminate a lot of this industrial organizational complex hocus pocus. And we can go straight to who eat off of us and tell them, you got to start engaging us on this way. So our micro organizations can raise money and be viable themselves. What is called self-funding. We must start an army of self-funding activity with our micro nonprofits. If our little news media groups, if these are nonprofits, and I don't know that they are, but if they are, they need to be doing things like that. And if they for-profits, then some of our micro nonprofits can raise a couple dollars. And
for-profits,
like if say for example, 810 or Fli-10, Fli-City Blackout or 810 or whoever these media groups are. If you're for-profit, then if I'm a micro nonprofit raising money off the Walmart thing or something like that, maybe what I'll do is sponsor a particular business segment on your thing, or a podcast or something, so that you can now speak more independently. All I'm talking on the micro level, because it's an army of micro nonprofit organizations and an army of micro businesses in Flint. I know I've formed at least 16 to 18 businesses in the last 18 months for people through Legal Research One up at the Flushing Professional Suites. I know for a fact that I've obtained help at least a dozen local micro nonprofit organizations form and get their 501c3 status through Legal Research One up at the Flushing Professional Suite. So I know these businesses and organizations exist on the micro level. And what has to happen though is they need regular, ongoing fundraisers instead of just sitting here begging and hoping and waiting for a grant.
Yeah.
So they got to ask not just the grant givers, but they got to start going to these local businesses with add value opportunities.
Right.
And saying, hey, look, y'all suck a lot of money up out of the community. I don't know that y'all putting any back, but here's our program. We need you to fund it. And guess what? You're gonna give them your 501c3 letter, and they'll be able to write off what they donate to you. So for them, it's a tax write-off.
It makes sense.
It's a benefit.
And then for you, it supports your program or your project.
And not only do they get a tax write-off and it supports your program, they also get ad value. Because on the flyer, you're gonna say sponsored by.
That's right. Right. And
so they get ad value.
What we used to say?
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity, right?
Yeah, your reciprocity.
Break it down.
So reciprocity, when you draw resources out of a community, then it's not charity or pure charity, should I say, to give something back to the community that you draw money from. That's parity and reciprocity. I'm eating off of you, so it's not robbery it's not just pure charity. I feel sorry for you, charity, to give you something back.
No, if I was able to feed my family, send my children to school, just as well as we paying for a lot of these tuitions at the corner stores. When we spending money at these corner stores and at the gas station, all these shops, right, at the hair store, at the salon, you got all these different folks that you're spending with. They may not be of your, ethnic background, but the thing most of them not, unfortunately, and you're spending with them, right? But it is a due diligence in them giving back, right?
Absolutely.
How many times have you seen your local corner store, or if it's an Arabic or Indian or Chaldean or whatever, giving back to something that's going on in your neighborhood, giving back to a program that you got for little kids, little children, a project that you're doing for community development or impact? How many times are they giving back to these type of initiatives? And a lot of times we don't even hold them accountable. And then a lot of times too, man, like they take. I got a problem with that, Reggie. I hate when folks just be sitting up here taking, just leaving this community drive, and then they go drive 20 minutes out the way to where they live, right? Go to school and spend that same money that they just sucked up out of here in the city and out there in the outer county, having a good time. Like I got a big problem with that, and I got a big problem with us spending with those folks. The thing is, where else they gonna go? Right?
See that? So now you're talking.
You gotta kind of force the issue with, since we ain't got nowhere else to go. We got a couple black corner stores now. We got the one on Welch, Kevin. The brother on Welch. We got Kevin. So big shout out to Kevin, the brother on Welch. We got a few, and I wish that we could just all flood them stores all the time and go pay for whatever they got in there, right? Yeah. But
we have to patronize them more in order for them to be able to compete. And what they need to do is they need to form a consortium. So if I'm a corner store and you a corner store, then let's form a consortium. We buy, if you're gonna buy both $600 worth of product, and I'm gonna buy $600 worth of that same product. Let's put our nickels together and buy in bulk and get a little bit more, so our price is cheaper.
That's how we did in the street. We trying to get this. If I'm got enough of this, and you got enough of that, then let's put it together, man. We can get a little bit more.
Well, you know what I'm saying? That's exactly right.
And that's forms that cultivate a business relationship. Now, like I got a partner over here, and I know when it's time to get product, then we can go in together, and then we might get some other items together.
Well, what will happen too is you'll put them in the position to be able to get terms. So when they buy in bulk like that, they might, after they buy it once or twice, then who they buy in bulk from, the vendor, they may be able to say, all right, the vendor may say, I give you 30 to 45 days, same as cash. So they buy it and they selling it, and they able to pay for it because they got it on consignment.
Come on now.
We use that's good.
That's good business.
That's good business.
You know what I'm saying? I was able to go and get out there, get activated with it, right? And then have your money for you, right? Send it to the vendor. And then with the interest of saying, like, okay, well, now we got something to the good. Now we can bank this, but then now we got a relationship with the vendor. So
we got a relationship with the vendor.
Same as cash.
That's just like a small business can develop its own credit. Don't think just because you small when you small, you can go to, it's strategies out there now. You Quill, and there's a few people that'll give you 30 days, same as cash. So you buy you some office supply from Quill, and you pay it before the 30 days is up. After 3 months of that, they'll report to Dun and Bradstreet or Experian Business, and you can then go get a Walmart account and do the same thing. And what you start doing is you start building business credit that don't require you to be a personal guarantee. And after a while, based off the income of the business, you might be able to afford to buy a vehicle in the business name and get insurance for whoever worked for your business. Might only be one or two of y'all, but you get business insurance because as a business, you're not driving the car every day, all day. It'll be cheaper and it'll be in the business name, type thing. So
that's I think, but those is those things when you saying like, and I love these strategies. I love that. Our thing is now is taking advantage of them. I know when we talk about we got to start where we are.
Start where you are.
Right? I know we got big dreams and big pictures, and we look at other,
and we can get
large
there.
Organizations, and we like, man, dang, we need to be there, right?
And we can get there.
But at one point in time, man, it took that slow grind. It took that taking advantage of those small, opportunities, right? Building yourself up to be able to get to the point where you are rolling like a Fortune 500,
like
right?
a Fortune 5. You are, because you're practicing that.
You practice
at the micro level.
Yeah.
And so as you grow, then it's not a problem because you practice. And let me tell you, there's other options, alternative financing, especially if you're trying to buy a building for your business and or try and buy a house. Look at land contracts. Now, a great friend of mine, a young fellow, worked with me when I was a manager at Quality Internet Express Cellular Plus. Used to be based out on Linden, Bristol, in that plaza behind our van. When phone aggregators used to buy time, pad it, and resell it. Cellular Plus used to buy time from Verizon and all of that. They would buy the time and they would make their own plans and they would sell the plans. Now, all of the big carriers, them squoze all them out now. But we had like 20,000 clients, and I was working for this group. Yeah, and so John Zerka, he was in high school. Young John Zerka, he worked out front for me. Now I remember going to his open house. This brother probably owned 100 houses now, because that's the family way. Now I'm not hating. I congratulate him, but I know he got a lot of flip property, and those houses. He and I are, and I don't mind publicly saying, we having a conversation about this because I'm like, yeah, dude, you need to make an army of homeowners out of these houses. Let's convert to giving them an opportunity to get the house and own it by a land contract.
Come on now.
See, land contract, Zerka the bank temporarily. So that same rent that I'm paying him, if he just flipped that over to a land contract, I can be paying that same rent, but I'm paying it towards home ownership.
Come on now.
And after about 3 or 4 months, the sisters group goes credit solution. She gonna get brought into this, and she gonna work the credit of the homeowner. So after about 3 or 4 months, because it's a land contract, they can now go to the bank for the balance of what John wanted that house. He just leave them a little bit of equity, and they saying, all right, we want to buy this house. We have a history of paying this land contract. We were paying rent before we was paying the land contract. Now we paying the land contract. We done paid it for X amount of months.
How many months do you need?
Man, only about 6 months credit.
6 months.
Well,
you purchasing on a land credit? On a land contract.
Let me tell you why.
6 months.
Is buying a home is a little bit different than buying a rent to own furniture or something. You gonna live there. So as long as you have the income to service the note, that's the main thing that a financier is looking at. Can you pay this note? Now, if I've been in there for a year already, under land contract, paying the note, land contract is ownership. So it's saying that I've owned it for that period of time. So when I go to get financed, excuse me, I'm not financing a new purchase. I'm refinancing something I already own. So the 20% down that's needed for a new purchase conventionally and all that, I don't have to do none of that. I already own it. I own it by land contract. So I'm just refinancing it for the balance I owe. And I'm gonna buy out Zerka, and I'm just gonna have a mortgage now with the financial institution, but he's out the game. It's just me and the mortgage company.
Right. Okay.
And now I have equity also. So if I say the house is worth $100,000, let's just use that number, or let's just say it's worth $50,000.
Right. Okay.
And I have through my land contract 5 to say I have $10,000 paid on my land contract when I want to go to get financed.
So the property is worth 50.
No, that's what I owe.
So
that's what I bought it for.
You bought it for 50,
but I only owe 40. I done paid 10,000. I go to the bank
on the land contract.
On the land contract, the bank get the house appraised. Say the house appraised for 60,000, and I only owe 40.
Yeah.
So what the bank is looking at, excuse me, is my equity.
So they're going to be looking at the equity in the home. You need water?
Yeah.
Delilah.
Excuse me, y'all.
Here's the
grab this water. Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. Yes, man.
All right. We good now, y'all.
What you say?
I'm on here choking, but we got it together.
He said that he's done, but then he's gonna go to Kurt's house. It's gonna need the next.
No, you go her right now. Call Brandon.
I don't even have it.
And tell him to call her.
If we need to pause for the call,
Just have gentlemen call her right now.
So
you saying if the bank looks at it and they see the property value is worth $60,000,
and they see 20,000 already paid,
and 20,000 has already been paid,
or 10,000 paid and 10,000. Well, technically,
you paid 10,000 in, you bought it for 50,
mm-hmm.
but the property's value at 60.
Right. So you have equity.
And you $10,000?
Well, actually 20. Because
you paid 10 and
it had value from the appraisal.
For sure.
So you have equity in the house, and you have a record of making your payment on time according to your land contract.
That's right.
With the land contract owner. So they seeing payment history. They seeing you have the ability to pay the note.
Yep.
So they're going to finance the house out. And that's another alternative way of buying the house without going to straight do a purchase order with a title company and a formal closing. Now, when you refinance, you're gonna end up doing a closing, but it's a closing on the refinance. Okay. So the title gonna come in your name and all of that formal stuff, but you already broke the ice because land contract is ownership.
Out the gate.
Is out the gate.
Well, you're not.
You're coming to the bank as an owner.
But yeah,
as an owner under land contract. Now, under land contract, you're responsible for the taxes. You're responsible for the water, so you get that added tax bill. That's why it's not a bad route to go. It's like you practicing for home ownership. Anyway, somebody gave you a break. Yeah. Your credit might not have been good enough to go get financed originally, and we might have some little blemishes and stuff. But if I own the house and I choose to give you a land contract because you've been renting from me for a year, and I'm gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna convert this over to a land contract, and I'm gonna let your payment history be the down payment that you was renting from me. You keep making the payments. Yeah. So now when I go to the bank, I might have been renting from you for a year and had the land contract for 6 months to a year. Right. All of that is going to be considered payment history. So it's easier for me to get financed.
So folks understand, what would be a good credit score for
purchasing a home?
Yeah, for people who purchasing a home, maybe through land contract or a new purchase. What should they kind of, I guess, have as a target credit score?
So land contract, the credit score is on the person that's giving you the land, what your credit score is to give you a land contract.
Right.
I might write the land contract up, we go record it downtown. It's a recorded land contract at the county recorder's office. You down the homeowner, I'm the bank.
That's right.
So I might at that point I might require you as part of the land contract, and this is what I'm suggesting. I might require you to have to come up with $600 right off the bat, so you can go through this credit repair program, and we can get your paying weight up. We can clean your credit up, because normally around a 636 is normally what the market will allow you to buy a house off of. But the higher your interest rate, the higher your credit score, the lower your interest rate.
Right.
So you want prime. You can normally get prime when you're around 680, 700. But I'm gonna tell you something. You don't have to have a lot of assets and a lot of credit to get a 700 credit score. You can get a 700 credit score off of having 2 credit cards and just maybe one revolving credit, a car or something like. You don't have to have a lot. You just have to make sure you pay your bills on time that report to the credit bureau.
Right.
And if you have slow pays, then you need to challenge them. You might say, hey, yo, look, check this out. If I pay over the next couple months on time, then you're not going to object to clearing all them slow pays off my credit report. And you can send them a letter, and they send you back a letter saying, okay, and you pay, and you pay on time. And then you get that to your credit repair person if you don't know how to do it yourself, and they'll go get all that stuff cleaned up off your credit report.
Makes sense. I think a lot of times we don't even look at it like that. Even then, I know I was having a conversation with some folks, who just recently graduated from school, and they got all those. Say, for instance, you got the school loans, you got the subsidized, unsubsidized loans, and for a while, those loans were in deferment.
Right.
Now they back on. Right. So a lot of folks are saying, like, how does that affect my credit? So the student loans affect a person's credit?
Yeah, because if you starting off and you got $50,000, $60,000 worth of debt,
right,
and you have very little income, then credit is based off of things like debt to income ratio. So if I have more debt than I have income, I'm a risk right off the bat right there. But I can mitigate that risk by just paying timely. If it's in deferment, that means I ain't been paying nothing. Right. So it shouldn't affect my credit score right off the bat. Right. It's going to affect my credit score when it comes out of deferment in 2 ways immediately. Number one, the size of the debt I have. Yeah. Because no matter what, it's debt. If it's $40,000, $50,000, it's debt. Yeah. And they're saying you got all this debt. So we're gonna count what's the payment on that. Yeah. So whatever that payment is on that debt, they gonna take that out of your money automatically. Say you getting $2,500 a month, and your student loan bill gonna be $400 a month. Now in their eyes, you're only getting $2,100 a month. Then how much is your rent? Right. Then how much is your utilities? Yeah. Now, what they trying to get to is how much DI or disposable income you have left after you paying your bills. And whatever your disposable income is, that's really the only money they looking at to see if whether or not you can pay this car note, right, or whether, and if it's going to take up all your disposable income, they're not going to do the deal. They're going to say, because you still got to buy food. You're going to go do some entertainment. I know you're going to the movies every now and then, or you're going to pay, go buy a meal. So you got to keep in mind, it's your DI that the financial institutions are trying to get to, right, your disposable income. And they're trying to see, can you service a note? Now, if you already paying rent, if I go to buy a house, then all I'm doing is trading a rent payment for a mortgage payment. And I'm gonna tell you something: mortgage payments are traditionally cheaper than rent payments.
Oh, for sure.
And most people don't understand that. So it's not so much your DI at that point. That's a factor. But is he already paying $800 rent, and he's been paying that for 3 years, and he's gonna buy this $100,000 house, and it's gonna be $800 with his mortgage and his insurance, because they're gonna box that into one, unless you put more than 20% down. If you put more than 20% down, then your insurance don't have to be tied into the payment. You can pay that separate because you have so much equity in the house. They'll allow you to pay that separate.
Or your what is it? Your property taxes.
Your property taxes. Yeah,
Yeah,
property
'cause I know
taxes.
mine-
I meant not insurance, but your
Yeah.
property taxes would be separate. Your
Yeah.
insurance is normally tied into the payment.
Right.
But when you finance something, they want you to have insurance. If it's a house, they're gonna collect that direct. They're gonna make sure that the insurance is gonna be tied into your payment.
Right.
So they're gonna make sure that the
Mhm.
insurance is paid in case that something happened to the
That's right.
house. They want to make sure that it's insured.
That's right.
So they're gonna tie that in there. But the property taxes, if you have more than 20% down, they won't necessarily tie the taxes into the payment. The tax escrow, they'll let you be responsible for that. And you'll save a little bit because escrow is normally higher than the amount of taxes. So on a micro level, we just have to have these. You're right. We need a place that people can come to regularly and just have this information shared with them. And the people that know this information, if they're tied to a nonprofit that may only just compensate them their gas money for coming in, then they can do something like that, unless they like the executive director running the program. But a lot of professionals will volunteer a little bit of their time to come and share what they know. If it's something that's coherent, if it's something that's not just a waste of their time.
Oh, for sure.
And
how do we get across? Because I'm really trying to understand you with them student loans. How will we address that? Right? Because I remember they was talking about in Congress, they were putting like 15 billion towards student loans.
Some people during the end of Obama, beginning of Trump, got their loans wiped out. And even before that, some people got their student loans wiped out. But you got to understand, the student loan program, in my opinion, a lot of these third parties, banks and stuff that finance them, man, their loans are guaranteed. A lot of the federal student loans are guaranteed. That's why the Chases and the Huntingtons over the years have financed them, because if you go default, then they're going to at some point go to the Treasury Department to get their money, or whoever guaranteed these loans.
That's right.
So, but your credit all jacked up, and you can do bankruptcy and stuff like that, but certain loans don't come up off of it. It's almost treated like a tax bill. They're gonna always collect on it until it's paid, or you enter negotiations and settlement. Some of these institutions, especially the HBCUs, when I went to them back in the 80s, they used to hand you your student loan check turned upside down. All they wanted you to do was sign it, and they was going to deposit it. But the loan was to you, and they technically was supposed to give you the check and let you pay your tuition out of the money. But whatever was left over, people would get student loans because they was putting some money in their pocket. And I know my school had got caught up in a thing about that, and I was able to take advantage of it and apply, and I got like 80% of my student loan wiped completely out because of that practice. Everybody's not going to be that lucky. Everybody's not going to have student loan deferment. It's a bill you made. I'm just going to be transparent with you. If it was it's really no angle except how long you going to defer it until you able to start making payments on it. These programs that Biden was supposed to continue to chop the interest off to almost nothing, or to forgive a portion of your student loan. I don't know if any of those programs are still alive, because some of it was to forgive a portion of your student loan, not all of it, but a significant portion of it. And there are still some programs, like if you go out and you become a school teacher for so many years, they'll pay off your student loan.
Yeah, I think like 10 years.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, either be a school teacher or work at a nonprofit for 10 years.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. But you also had to make consistent monthly payments. So you had to make payments, whatever the minimum was.
It's not deferment. Why are you in that status? Well, see, that's something that probably can be addressed.
Yeah, I tried to, you move myself. I was going to It's either, like you said, you can either work for a nonprofit and make monthly payments. Same thing as being a school teacher or educator, or also in the medical field.
Now the question is, or a first responder or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what type of nonprofit? If it just have to be 501c3, then create you a 501c3 and work for it.
You know what time it is.
And now to me, if that's the case, as long as you're working as a teacher or for a nonprofit, perhaps that should be deferment and not making payments. Then if it's going to be forgiven, if I'm paying on it, what's the purpose of me paying on it if I'm working the field where it's supposed to be paid off? It should be deferment until I pay it off. I mean, until
I agree with you. It should be, especially if
we need to look into that and make sure that's not an exception or option.
Yeah, I mean, from what I guess the documentation that I received for it is you have to make that monthly payment, right?
Okay.
For 10 years, and you have to work at those different institutions. Right?
Well, is it going to be anything left to pay after 10 years? Well, I know people that's been paying on student loans for 30 years.
I know for sure, man. I know, man. That stuff be, I know folks, man, they got like over 100,000 in student loans. It's just,
yeah, depending on where you go,
that's a huge bill, right?
it can build up to that,
right? So I'm like, man, but I guess, like I said, we were just trying to figure out ways that we can continue to still live life, man, and not be bottled down by bills. At the same time, getting those monkeys off our back. So it was like a group of us having a conversation about that. Though.
We have to tell this truth to DeWaun.
Mm-hmm.
We have to understand the formula,
mm-hmm.
and the formula requires you to suffer for change because we have to live. I don't care how much money you make it. You have to live within your means.
Mm-hmm.
If you making $2,000 a month, then your lifestyle got to be based on what you make. You can't have a $5,000 a month lifestyle and you only make it $2,000 a month, and you got to operate in thirds.
Mm-hmm.
That you hopefully you get to a space where your income, a third of your income pays your bills.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to increase your income. There's a lot of online jobs. There's so much stuff you can do online. It blows my mind, man, how the nieces and nephews and are hustling online.
Okay.
And so that's one of the first look is always your own. It is nobody else's. This is how you living with the resources you have. If you get your money and you go buy what you want first, you're gonna always be behind.
Bad practice,
yeah, bad practice, because what you're gonna do with what you need, you're gonna go beg, borrow. You're gonna be borrowing from folks to pay your rent, borrowing to pay your utilities and money, but you just spent $90 on getting your hair done. So you're not gonna really find empathy after a while. People gonna look at you like,
you look good.
You look good. But more news at 11. I guess you're gonna look good homeless. So some of it is on us. And man, you can't eat out every night and things like that. So whatever part of it is on us, because when you lived in chronic and systemic poverty all your life, it's hard to tell a person when they get a little change to hold on to that, because they like, bro, hold on to what? I ain't got nothing. And what I got is a vapor. When I get through paying these bills, I'm not gonna have nothing anyway. So that's why you see used to see us as poor people, and I say us because been there, done that. I'm trying to climb up out of it, but used to see us wear our wealth. That's why you'll see a person living in a shack with a car that they bought for $4,000, but they got $6,000 rims on the car, or they're wearing in their clothes. They throw name Gucci, Fiorucci, and Pooch, but they whole savings they wearing.
Yeah.
So these are things that we don't sit there and dog a person out about. We just start showing them different options. We just mirror a different way. It should always be needs first and wants. When people go into bankruptcy, the bankruptcy trustee make you start putting all your money in envelopes, because they trying to show you how to manage your cash. Because most of us live off cash. When we're poor, we don't even have credit, so we forced to live off cash.
Nah, I think yeah, it's definitely it's a way of life. I think I'm glad that we did touch upon that, man. Living within our means, right? I know we all have this vision of living this grandiose lifestyle, and sometimes that's cool, right? When you live in poverty all your life, it's good to get a sweet taste of the next year, right?
That's right.
You want to get to it. I understand that all the way. But then too is like, man, being very conscious about your decision making that puts you in a position to not be worried about where your next meal coming from, right? After you put all that Gucci, Louis, and Poochie on, right? It's like, now I need to figure out how I'm gonna eat, right? And that's just like, it's just backwards. So I think even too, when we go into 2024, man, it's a renewal of the mindset.
Yes.
Man, we ain't gotta all be all like that. We want to be able to, make as much money. Like if you want to spend a lot of money, you gotta make twice as much. I remember my grandfather said, man, don't buy nothing. I was talking about getting another vehicle. He's like, man, don't buy it unless you got 3 times the amount in your bank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, yeah, you don't want to spend your last on something, then you got to figure out how you're going to put gas in this month.
Right.
And those things is like, it's a mindset thing. So in this year coming up, let's renew our mindset. Let's stop doing all that random, spending for no reason, right? Eating out every day or buying all this nonsense that we don't got, they ain't going to mean it's nothing, right? And you just out there just throwing it away. Let's go ahead and be very, I guess, tactful, right? You know what I'm saying? With our spending.
Yeah.
And then make sure that you pay yourself. Make sure if you're working all these hours, you
pay yourself.
Make sure you work and you pay yourself. And then, you put a little bit away. You got children, you got to put that stuff away so, they can go ahead and be able to get further education in life.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Let's get some life insurances on ourselves, right? Because that's the way to access new money. Like when I can put $100,000 policy on myself, give split it up among the children, right? Make sure I'm buried and all that stuff. They ain't got to worry about that burden on them.
Yeah.
But then I'm gone. They're gonna come into some new money, right? You can use that as a form of investment, right? You know what I mean? And I think those things that those small things that we can do, which we can do right now. I like how you were talking about you put it on our elders. Like, all our family members that might be a little older. Yeah. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with planning. That's how folks. It's a transfer of wealth.
That's right.
If I'm able to go ahead and make sure that, hey, listen, we know that Uncle, Granny, them, everybody gonna go one day, right? We want to think of this like as a business, right?
Yeah.
So we put policies on them, and and everybody reap the benefits. So when they go, we can properly bury them and take care of them, right?
And have a Bible bang or be left over.
Carry the tradition on, right? And we can invest, right?
We don't talk about those things because it seems kind of morbid, but we the only community that don't. Death in almost every community except ours is a transfer of wealth. Mm-hmm. The death is a transfer of wealth. There's normally a house that's being received, and you just said the formula. We're gonna have to do another show just on that, because when we talk about making investments, especially when you have limited resources, or you're poor, then investment 101 should be everybody over 60. We need to have life insurance policies on it. And because if I bought a life insurance policy today on my mom and she's older, what'll happen is the life insurance company gonna want her to live 2 years before they would pay full benefits, because if she tip over before them 2 years, they just gonna hand me back my premiums. But if she lasted 2 years and I got a $50,000 or $100,000 policy, they're gonna have to pay that whole $100,000. Now what's gonna happen is whole life or term life. You can get term life policies like that too.
And for a certain amount of time.
For terms are normally just that. They're 10, 20, 30-year policies. So if my mom's 70, they might only give me I might have to get a whole life policy, and it's going to be reduced because the term life policy is going to be expensive. But that's where you calculate. If you know the condition of your loved one, and you and now again, this is gonna be real uncomfortable, but I'm just gonna talk like this. Say my uncle is 75, and the men in my family ain't none of them for 6 generations live past 80.
Right.
Well, if I get if I'm able to get a $50,000 term life insurance policy on him, but that policy is costing me because of his age. It's cost me $250 a month. So if I say 250 by 36, which is 3 years, I got a long hand. This 12, 30, 40, 15. Then my premiums is going to be about 9, 8, 10, about $9,000. So I'm gonna pay $9,000 over 3 years for 50.
Yeah.
Great investment.
It's a good investment.
Great investment. So some of the best investments that we can make in the short term is our own people. And we probably need to sit down as a family and have those conversations. If we got 6 relatives over 60, we can form a family trust and say, hey, look at here. We getting 50,000 policies, $50,000 policies on all y'all. They might outlive us. But you get the policies on them. So if something happens to them, let 50% of the policy go to whoever they want it to go to, and let the other 50% go in the pocket of the trust. And then as more money go into the trust, you start buying life insurance policies like the Rockefellers did on everybody. So the Rockefellers been getting rich off the waterfall method. And the waterfall method is every time somebody is born, they put a life insurance policy on them people where 10% of the benefit go to them and the 90% stay in the trust, but they get IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance Policy. So these policies build cash value over the life. So they'll have kids that they don't put an IUL on at 1 year old. By the time that kid is 19, that kid will get maybe can get a lump sum of $250,000 that they will borrow from the IUL. They'll never pay it back. The IUL death benefit is worth $1 million, and when that kid dies throughout the course of their life, the death benefit pays off the $250,000 they got when they turn 18 or 21, and it replenishes the fund, and the fund keep growing. That's what the Rockefellers have done over the years, and most of us don't know nothing about IULs. I just got hip to it about 18 months ago. We're gonna have to have that's called infinite banking. You've been hearing about infinite banking? That's the IUL. I got a brother out in California, a fraternity brother that's getting mine together, and we might need to have him on the show remote so he can break that down. I'm telling y'all, IULs, property, and life insurance policies should be investment 101 in the Black community.
I think we're gonna hit them back. We're gonna double back too, man. Because I'm, the more we talking, just different things want to touch up on, right? You'd be here for hours. So.
I know, and I know it's about that time. We 8:30. We started late today anyway.
We started late today. We'll do a real quick recap. So we did host we hosted our 3rd day of Kwanzaa today. Right, which is Ujima. So we talk about Habaragani.
Yes.
Habaragani.
Ujima.
What that means?
Collective work and responsibility.
So we had a phenomenal session at Flint Odyssey House. We're located at 718 Oak Street. Please come join us. It's a family affair. We're there at 1 p.m. We normally runs about 3 p.m. But we want to make sure that everybody in the house, Kwanzaa is practiced at home, in the family. I'm practicing with my 2 small children. And, I find them really taking hold of the teachings. Right? For a while, you just kind of have to talk about these things and just listen. But now you kind of see them kind of embody in the spirit, right? They know these principles, they know the background, they know what that means, but they also want for them to tell me like how they can apply it to their life. Instead of just talking about it, I want them to tell me like an example. Like, okay, well, how are you practicing Ujima? Right? So Junior talk about, I take out the trash. Yeah, you're right. It's collective responsibility. Your job is to take out the trash.
Yeah.
That's your role in the house. Lottie's role is to wash the dishes. My role is to pay the bills. So yeah, we all collectively in here working, living, loving each other, and everybody knows the role. And I think that's important. So when I can see that in them, I want them to practice that, in years to come, whoever, family they have, and those things. So it's just a beautiful thing. So we encourage folks to come down and be, with us physically. But if you are not able to make it physical,
Zoom link.
We do have a Zoom link, right? The Zoom information is available. I don't have it up right now, but I will drop it here in the chat too. We have the Zoom, right? So if you're looking for a Kwanzaa, you're looking for togetherness, you're looking for collective work, you're looking for us to learn something where we can at least put some, different tools in how we live, right? How Brother Reggie was breaking down different financial tools, right? When you're talking about building credit, for small business development, nonprofit, organization, right? You got these different things, right? We want to be able to put out knowledge that's, I guess, supportive in your efforts so you can live a high quality of life. That's right. Kwanzaa does that for us. Kwanzaa really helps us be better people. It really helps us kind of have some type of order of operation. And, we really kind of apply these principles to our everyday lives, man. Things be different for us. That's right. And so tomorrow we'll be doing Ujama. Ujama represents cooperative economics. Now, that is a tier that this brother knows very well. So we talk about cooperative economics. We kind of touched on a number of different things that you can do as it relates to put some things together. We do have that grocery store over there. Yeah. Now we need to be talking about doing a credit union. Yeah. Right. We need to be even establishing a school. That's in right. A hospital. Right. Those are things that we should be having for ourselves. That's owned and operated by ourselves. I even put out there earlier today. Well, no, this is not today. This was yesterday. That I was just kind of finding out and just kind of doing through my research. You know what I'm saying? It made it kind of made folks kind of think a little bit. But like HBCUs such as Morehouse and Spelman are named after white folks, right? Those out there, right? And I was just so blown back that we put these white folks on our historical black colleges, and I didn't understand. Right, when I was doing the research and reading about these folks, I know Spelman is a Rockefeller. She married to David Rockefeller, or John D. Rockefeller, and the whole thing was to be able to educate women. Well, her thing was to educate women, black women, right? But then it's like this too. It's like at the end of the day, those initiatives are great, but we got to go ahead and define ourselves. When we talk about Kujichagulia yesterday, listen, that was like define and organize and identify who we are, right? We got to build those structures on our own, right? You know what I mean? Like starting where we at. It might be a little shack around the corner, and that can eventually become a large, structure. But at the end of the day, like we have to find things that we have to build ourselves, we have to do for ourselves. That's self-determination. Yeah. Right? Even though we don't have all the resources, we want to have all the money. We have no equity, right? But at the end of the day, we got enough coins to put together to be able to get a house to say, hey, listen, we're gonna start in this house. This is where the foundation of the bones was made in this house, right? Yeah. But we just talked about properties, right? Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot of properties around here. We can be able to have those knowledge houses, right? Those freedom school houses that eventually turn into colleges, community colleges, or their university, right? Right there, smack in the neighborhood. They all start like that. Institutes. Come on, like ain't nobody none of this stuff. Nobody just had these big organizations, universities overnight. This stuff was over time, and we just had to be dedicated. Have continuity. Continue to pass this knowledge down. Everybody had to be united, right? We had to believe in these things. So that's what like Kwanzaa tells us. Kwanzaa talks about all those different things. That's right. And so it's value in learning these 7 principles. It's value in Nguzo Saba, right? And I really hold those values and principles to heart. So we encourage everybody to come out 718 Oak Street tomorrow at 1 p.m. Actually get there early. If you want to get there about 12:30, 12:45, we'll be welcoming you with open arms. So 718 Oak Street, 1 o'clock. Tomorrow we'll be doing Ujama, which is cooperative economics. Yes. We'll also have it available via Zoom. So we had a phenomenal session with that. After Kwanzaa, we attended a meeting over there at Christ Fellowship, which was coordinated by Black organizations and groups, NAACP, the Black Forums, Black Lives Matter, Democracy Defense League, and others, and the concerned pastors. The thing is this too, though, right? I, for one, I'm not just interested in just sitting around having conversations, having coffee conversations all day. Like, listen, we got to be about next steps and actions. What the hell we gonna do about this? All right, we're going to go down there and burn the city council down, or we're going to get these folks out of there and recall them. We're going to train up some new voices and new faces to be in those seats. Because I'm tired of looking at the same stuff. It's just like this reminds me, the city council this time around reminds me of the city council we just had a problem with 2-3 years ago, right? It's like the same stuff. I don't understand though, Reggie. I'm serious about that. Like that is getting very annoying. It's like, I don't know if we got 5 blacks on. And it ain't got to just be a black and white thing, but we got 5 blacks on city council. And we still get short of it. We still can't get it right.
We have to learn how to rise above our
differences. I'm not going to call them petty differences because some of our differences are significant, and some of them are rooted in whether a person is, we be viewing each other as a house or field, and
which is a real thing.
Which is a real thing.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, I can recall reading Black Economics, Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys 1, 2, and 3, all of Juanas and Jufu books. I can read The Chains and Images of Psychological Slavery, the ISIS Papers. I mean, about 300 books of culture. I can remember reading over my, and I came to this conclusion. Even in the house, there's an organization called Blacks in Government. Okay. And I remember reading actually viewing a videotape from the 90s of Farrakhan speaking to them. And he literally was on the talking to them, invited him to come there, and he was basically calling them house Negro. He was like, "You house Negro, y'all are our best house Negro," and they were squirming. He said, "But never forget." And he told him a story about a plantation down in South Carolina where those that was in the kitchen, they grinded glass fine as sugar, and they was putting it in the sugar. And over a period of time, all of the slave master and his kids, they bled out, and they maintained the plantation for years before they even figured out what was going on. That's right. And it was just like, so what I'm saying is you're going to find valuable people at all levels. I agree. And you never know where the solution may come from. So what we have to develop, and this is not no fake unity. We have to, our unity must be based on mutual interest. Every community comes together, but us. But they don't become together because they like each other. They could have just fought, but they'll come together based on mutual interest. And mutual interest, the basis of mutual interest is this: we might have 7 or 8 things in common, but we might have 3 or 4 things in conflict. And for the purpose of Ujamaa, unity, and for the purpose of Kujichagulia, self-determination, and for the purpose of Ujima and Ujamaa and Kaumba and Nia and Amani, what we have to do is somewhat suppress what we have in conflict if it ain't killing us, and stand on what we have in common to develop mutual interest. And we come together now, not because I like you or don't like you. We come together because of mutual interest. And when we come together based on having mutual interest, because if you're not concerned about what I'm concerned about, if I don't have no interest in what you're talking about, you only gonna get so much out of me. Let's just be truthful about that. But if we concerned about ourselves collectively as a people, we have to police ourselves. We be so busy off of covering each other's crimes and bull crap, and the real stuff, we just go at it. We go at each other's throat. So we have to help teach our city council people how to operate under mutual interest. What's needed in the 2nd ward, the 3rd ward, the 5th ward, the 1st ward? What's needed in these wards that are mutually needed in all wards, and make our representatives operate off of that. Then you'll watch them pass stuff because they'll have something for their constituents. Because politics and politrics is the art of compromise. I can't say. That's why I like socioeconomics, because once we get that together, the politicians will make the adjustment. Remember, we're gonna have to have a show on the and y'all have to get this book. The book of the month is the National Reparations Declaration, a quantitative and qualitative blueprint for Black redress. It's forwarded by Dr. Raymond Winbush, who's one of the fathers of the reparation movement, and Reginald Samir Muhammad, a professor at Clark Atlanta, and Michael Muhammad. The National Reparations Declaration. It's my intentions that brother gonna be in the state in February to get him in Flint up here in February. I like to get him on Fli-City. I like to bring him up the Dorian spot, comic books. I like to get. I was at the Reparations Summit in November, and these brothers. This only a 62-page read, and there's 2 things in here: the collective cultural model, which is based off of mutual interest, and the quadruple based paradigm. And man, this is based off the 4 Ps. And we'll have to do a show on this, man, and show you how every community has a power base, a profit base, a policy base, and a privilege base. And if you identify these 4 P's in your community, you can make stuff happen because you'll disrupt these 4. That's when you're going to be able to move the needle. And we'll give some examples of that too. But time is of the essence. Brother DeWaun laid it out. I hope everybody do come and share in on the remaining of the Kwanzaa celebration that we have. Kwanzaa is not, see, let me say this about being pro-Black, DeWaun.
That's right.
You can be pro-Black without being anti anything else.
Come on now.
You don't have no time to be anti anything else if you being about it. And I'll be the first to admit that I did not change because I saw the light. My change came throughout the course of my life because I felt the heat and the weight of my foolishness. And then I had a change of mind and a change of heart. It wasn't because I saw no light. It was that heat.
It happens to the best of it, right?
Yes,
like
sir.
sometimes, like God has a way, the Spirit has a way of kind of, shifting you to get into the right. I had no quarrel with that because that's the same way I saw. I just didn't see it. I wanted to be all. It wasn't that, you know what I'm saying? I was sitting in that cell and I was thinking, like, man, folks trying to
tell somebody.
Let me go in it. I told him, I made a covenant with the Most High. Like, man, you know how you get in there, get to talking all that. You know what I'm saying? One of these Muslims. I'm like, you know what? If I ever, man, listen, man, I don't never want to be wrong to my people. I don't never want to take away. I don't want to be disrespectful. I want to be, let me be used in a way where, it's a benefit, for the time, right? And so, those things is important, right? And I remember I keep that box to this day because I was doing a lot of writing, reading, and and we didn't have no other choice. But the thing was, it was sharpening myself.
Yes,
right? And I was around some really good elders, some brothers, man, who kind of helped me see the light on some things. So
you turn jail into Yale.
That's right. So those things, it don't matter when, as long as you see the light, right? Don't be out here on the foolishness for a lifetime, man, because we need you. Yeah. We talk about collective work, it would take everybody. I love the analogy he said about those house folks, right, who played a part because they were in the house, right? They had access to the glass and the sugar bowl, right? So they was able to put 2 and 2 together, and they made sense, right?
Well,
so
they change. So wherever a person is at, you never know when they can change. Yeah. And the hardest person can go hypocrite overnight. You never judge a book by where it's at on the shelf because it can be moved at any time.
No, and I agree with you, man. And I'm glad that we can see the light in ourselves like that, man. You're right, folks can change. So what we even asking from us in this community, man, we got to change for the good. We got to change for the better. That we ain't got to be all just feeling like we ain't going nowhere, and this is no light at the end of the tunnel. We have to be able to force the issue sometimes. So we can change. We can change. We might be in this circumstance right now, but that don't necessarily mean it's gonna be our future. Mm-hmm. And so if we tired of being sick and tired, then we're gonna do what's necessary today. So I know I'm committed. I know we got brothers like Reggie committed. We got good folks in this community that's committed. Let's do something that we never saw. Right? Yeah, right. And I think that's something that going into next year. Those are the things that we look to do, man. So reparations, right? When we talk about that conversation has to be a conversation where we all sit down and look at what does our plan look like? Yeah, right. If it's a national plan, then we should have a local plan too. Exactly, and that's what I like about the reparations, the National Reparations Declaration, because it has a formula that Michael Muhammad created. He took the 14 million acres of land that we owned at the end of slavery. He took a period of what happened to us during Jim Crow. He calculated all the way up to the 60s and came up with $83 trillion that's owed based on a coherent model that even the most conservative economists would say is good. And the reparations they talk about ain't just in dollar value. They say we need land. We need land, and I'm gonna tell y'all, we come into a space with the way the earth is being polluted, brother. We gonna have to take control of our own food. Now, I know that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation, man. My mother was just talking about that too. So, we gonna come back. we need to do a series because it's a lot of different things that we touching on, right? With let's kind of maybe in the series, just like when we was talking, when we was just talking about socioeconomics, what I could think about. I was thinking about Dr. Claude Anderson, right? And what he was talking about, Powernomics. And then our brothers, man, that does the the forex, the trading. What's the group?
I know you're talking about the two brothers that the Wall Street. I can't think of the brother's name, but it is in essence, DeWaun, a socioeconomic revolution from the bottom up. We have to be able to show individuals and small organizations and small businesses how to 10x whatever they're doing and how to maximize what they're doing. Because we got people out in the community like Dante Solidified. That brother is a hustler on 10. And we got people with micro organizations like his cousin Tanisha Thompson and Sisters Supporting Sisters. I just watched that sister grow and grow and grow. And these army of micro organizations and individuals can make a difference. We just have to they all mutual interest do things for us to stand on the same platform from time to time on. Because a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
See, we gotta use our old ancestral connections, because we got some old ancestral connections that'll change the weather, brother. And we gotta tap in to those ancestral connections that'll rise the tide for us on a socioeconomic level, which we call Ujamaa, and you'll watch things change. We got to be more positive. We got to stop being as negative. We got to quit nitpicking and making our voices all about sensation and drama, and more so than substance.
Right.
We turn on social media and the TV for the drama versus the substance. We more into Channel Zero is entertaining the Real Household. I mean, wives and those different things.
This stuff is terrible.
Because not that they're bad individuals, but we need some substance, bro.
Yeah, we got
that ain't no substance.
We gotta be. Let's do something, man. Let's be better. Like you said, let's be positive. All right, let's try to go ahead and let's shape it. We was talking about the spiritual and connected back to our ancestors. Let's give ourselves value.
Let's give ourselves value.
A lot of stuff, man, we be doing, man. We be devaluing each other and devaluing, what our ancestors fought for, man. They be rolling their graves seeing this stuff.
And we can't be afraid to ask for and give forgiveness one to the other. Yeah. Because if we want the Most High to forgive us, and it's something that we've never practiced, we always want to show how hard we are. Brother, have some empathy in your heart and soul.
I agree.
For what the next person is going through, and respect people's time.
Yeah,
respect their time, man. And can you imagine? Can you imagine if Weaver? Y'all gonna hate this, but it's good. If Weaver and Neely sat down in the room with the true experiences that they had in the highest form of governance in our city. If they sit down and say, "Oh, you remember when this happened? And I could have handled this way. Oh yeah, I'm going through that now. If you remember, if that happened, if things like negativity and naysaying and hurt feelings and forgiveness was truly able to enter the room, and people who've had the experience, because they've had the experience at the high level, and that's valuable. And we got to respect and honor both of them for their experience. Now, the flip side of that is if they on some foolishness, then we have to be able to effectively remove the foolishness. Ain't nobody going to ask nobody to put up with no doggone foolishness. No. And foolishness need to be removed. Ain't no ring kissers in here. No. But if we can strain those experiences into something coherent and say, well, what did you do when this happened? Well, what did you do when that happened? Man, I don't know about you. See, that's why I couldn't be a politician, because if I came in office, that sister would have been my top advisor. I would have been trying to find a way to hire her because she had the experience.
And that would separate you from a lot of politicians. See, the thing is, That's what you would have did. That's what you would.
That sister would have been my top
I
advisor.
would have been rocking with her. That would be ideal if there's a sitting in the room and be like, hey, listen, you know what? These some things that, you know, I'm coming to the office in. I'll finish up that you had worked in on.
Absolutely.
You know, have you right? Give me some guidance and insight on what you was thinking of.
Absolutely.
Plan with this. And then I got some plans and visions that I like to take it from here. Whatever the case may be.
Because her experience is valuable.
Oh, for sure.
It's valuable. And you want to see, and people love and support.
We could have been together.
We could have been together.
Everybody would have been one.
And as far as that sound, it's not unrealistic, man. It's just a matter of will. Do you got a will to humble yourself? You know, the book of James say, humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and he'll lift you up. I believe that's 4 and 6. So humility go a long way. And I'm gonna tell you something about humility before we get off. If you don't learn how to humble yourself, and this is personal experience I've had, the universe will humble you. Within the word humiliation is the word humble. So you will get humiliated if you don't voluntarily humble yourself. But either way it go, humbleness is going to occur. It's going to occur voluntarily or it's going to occur involuntarily. You're going to get humiliated or you're going to humble yourself. But I guarantee you humbleness is going to occur. That's a precept of the Lord and that's a precept of the universe. So you better get in tune because you got to make the choice. Do you want to be humiliated or do you want to voluntarily humble yourself? Either way, it's going to happen.
Either way, it's going to happen. And that kind of go into what we were just talking about, man, like, you know, personal thing.
Yes.
We had, you know, kind of had like forced, you be more humble. And I appreciate, you know, even some the trials and tribulations and the hard time because you really never value where we are in life now.
That's right.
If those things that happen, you probably be on the same path you was before.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that wasn't good for nobody. So I do appreciate even, you know, the opportunity to be here. I appreciate, you know, just living life and, you know, I guess contributing in the way that I can.
Amen, brother.
In the form that I am now, man. I think it's much more gratifying to the spirit, right? I feel like I'm somewhat, you know, right my wrongs. But then also, you know, I want to continue to be guided by the Most High and follow purpose, right?
Yes.
So that in a nutshell, man, that's all I can ask for, man. I know, man, one day we're gonna die out. All this stuff gonna be a past. But you know, while we're here, man, just make sure that we leave a mark.
That's right.
So, you know, and I appreciate Brother Reggie. So we got to come back with a series. A series. Let's dial what the series look like so you can kind of take it a step. Right?
Okay.
You know, maybe walk them into it, right?
Yes.
You know how we were talking about building
some little bite size.
Yes. We build them up like build that incubator.
We
talk about folks that need like LLCs and eventually get, you know, office space, eventually operating, right? You need the credit strong, right? To be able to get the company vehicle. All those things, man, that's what we all try to get to.
Yeah.
And we're gonna walk that one down.
Yeah.
That's a session. Then going into reparations where, you know, it's a group collective of us working together.
Yeah.
Building this local that can, you know,
there's a beautiful framework,
right?
This 62-page framework, we got to digest that.
Right. And then we got some town halls that we're gonna do next year too.
Yes.
So we can be able to kind of, you know, provide a report from, you know, some of those different fractions.
I know me and Hill and working on the town hall for the crisis. Yeah. So people can really understand in this last stretch what the stakes are, what's involved. We can, you know, blow past the conjecture and need for everybody to want to say what it is, but what it actually is. You know, and it's difficult sometimes doing a lawsuit in the public because you have to represent the interests of your client and you have to maintain client confidentiality. But there are some things that can still be talked about. But the goal is, if you got an attorney, just make sure you staying in touch with them about what's going on. And I'm just thankful as a Spacely Sprocket, you understand me, and Cogswell Cog in this thing. You don't know nothing about that. That was the Jetsons, bro, way back.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, you was
I was
running
gonna ask you.
You was running
I
around
heard Cosmic.
Yeah. That's a little bit before your time. But
they
low
were futuristic.
Man,
they was futuristic.
Low man on the totem pole being tied into one of the managing firms. There is some information that I personally want to make sure that as many people as possible is aware of in this last push. Yeah. So they can max out what they are entitled to.
Right.
And because my concern is so many people are going to be left behind that just opted out of the whole situation. And it was never a be all do all. That's a myth from hell. It was targeted for some specific things, and there's some things this community need to do beyond whatever a lawsuit will provide to make sure that the people are pressed to keep resources coming into Flint.
Yeah.
And Camp Lejeune showed the way. I'm convinced that this is just the beginning. It's not the end. But I would be happy to see as many people as possible get more than a few nickels, especially these children. That's going to be able to help many of them in a substantive way. You know?
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, because I know a lot of folks, man. You're saying James Evans said, man, great job saying.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
James. That's all the way from St. Louis. St. Louis, Missouri.
What's up, James, man?
Yeah.
Glad to have you here, man. Make sure you like and share.
Yeah,
Subscribe,
master educator, man. James Evans, master educator. Yeah.
Man, good to definitely hear some great things about you. And we need you in this fight, brother. We talking about national reparations, man. This is a national thing. So
yes, sir.
We got to talk. We're gonna tap in with them.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But no, we definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in and leaving your comments. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the channel, Fli-City Blackout. We want to make sure that we continue to have constructive conversations and move us in the direction to having, a robust community that we all believe in, right? We want to highlight everybody that's doing phenomenal things here in this community. Want to build up the foundations for the youth. So we're going to do for self, right? We started where we at. We started in the basement, right? Ain't nothing wrong with being in the basement. Listen, I had moved out of my mama's house when I was 15, and when I came back out, I had found myself in the basement again. I remember like, man, listen, you know what? She said, I love you, but I'm gonna make this most uncomfortable time in your life. I don't want you to be here like that.
I know that's right.
I appreciate it, Mama. Shout out to Mama.
Shout out to Mama. Got you out the basement. Yes, sir.
Out the basement. Dude, man, me and brother be talking about buying homes and more properties and turning renters into homeowners.
That's
so
correct.
I'm definitely with it. So
yes,
we're gonna definitely tap back in. We're gonna get that series out to everybody. We appreciate everybody here in this community, man. Whether we're rocking with you or whether we got issues, man. Listen, it's gonna take us all, man. That's collective work and responsibility.
That's right.
That's a genius to the 10th. So we're gonna be tapping in with you too. So
yes.
With that said, you got any private words you want to say?
No, I think we said it all. Shout out to Anika Brooke, the Queen Goals Credit Solution, and everybody for tolerating with the brother and making sure that we have what we need. So y'all just, if you're able, if you're out of Flint, brother gonna put the Zoom link in the comments. Y'all just tap in and celebrate Kwanzaa with us. As we take some great things in Flint. Out of a great mess can come greatness.
Come on,
and I just want us to stay encouraged going into 2024 that we're gonna just do some good things. Everybody's portion is relevant. Everybody portion is relevant. Whatever you contribute, whatever your portion is relevant. It's relevant and it is appreciated. So everybody, stay positive and let's just keep on moving forward. That's the only direction forward.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, man. We're gonna tap out for the night, man. Always a pleasure, my brother.
Always. Yeah. Yes, sir.
To be continued.
To be continued.
We'll be back in. We in the sessions with the Blackouts. So